How banks and inflation are stealing your wealth. The rules of money revealed. Imagine a world where money isn't just something you spend but a tool you master, a force that shapes lives, fuels dreams, and divides the rich from the poor. Why do some people amass fortunes while others, despite hard work, remain trapped in financial struggle? This is the question that drives our journey today, a deep dive into the essence of money, the traps of poverty, and the strategies to achieve financial freedom. Buckle up, because this exploration will challenge your assumptions, ignite your ambition, and equip you with the mindset to conquer the financial markets. Let's start with a provocative question. Why do you, despite your steady efforts, find yourself stuck in the same financial rut? The answer lies not in your work ethic but in the very nature of money itself. Most people don't understand money's attributes or how it flows through society. Turn on any TV show about disputes, and you'll see 90% of them revolve around money that tears apart families, friendships, and futures. It's a force so powerful it can grant dignity or strip it away. Yet, most of us are clueless about its mechanics. You earn, spend, and save every day, but do you truly know what money is? What are its properties? Why does wealth seem to slip through your fingers? In the dawn of human civilization, money didn't exist. People bartered, trading goods like axes for eggs or cloth for milk. But bartering had flaws. An axe couldn't be split into three to trade for different items without losing its value. Worse, if the farmer with eggs didn't want your axe, the deal was dead. This inefficiency led to the invention of money, a medium of exchange everyone agreed to value. Early societies chose items like butter, which was divisible and widely needed, to facilitate trade. A farmer could trade an axe for butter, then use that butter to get eggs, cloth, or salt. Over time, certain goods like tobacco in colonial Virginia, sugar in the West Indies, or salt in Abyssinia became proto-money. But it was gold and silver, with their portability, divisibility, and scarcity, that won out as the ultimate currency in free markets. Gold's allure isn't just its shine. Formed in the fiery hearts of exploding supernovae, gold is finite, inert, and enduring. A gold coin crafted today will gleam just as brightly in 1,000 years. Silver, while cheaper due to oxidation, shares similar traits. These metals became money because they held stable value, unlike the fiat currencies we use today. In 1973, when Nixon severed the dollar's tie to gold, money became fiat, paper backed by trust, not intrinsic value. This shift unleashed a beast, inflation. Fiat money can be printed endlessly, diluting its purchasing power. Your bank account might grow, but the system prints faster, eroding your wealth. In the last 20 years, inflation in many countries has averaged 7% annually. $1 million in the bank loses $66,000 in value each year. Even safe investments like savings accounts or low-yield funds can't keep up. This brings us to the 2008 financial crisis, a stark lesson in money's fragility. Picture this: in the early 2000s, the U.S. was reeling from the dot-com crash. To stimulate the economy, the Federal Reserve slashed interest rates, making borrowing cheap. People poured money into real estate, believing it was a sure bet. Banks, under pressure to lend, relaxed standards to absurd levels. Stories abound of loans approved with minimal scrutiny. One tale from The Big Short claims a dog could get a mortgage. Borrowers with shaky credit took out subprime loans, high-risk debts for those with credit scores below 600. These loans, bundled into mortgage-backed securities (MBS), were sold as safe investments, rated AA by complicit agencies. Banks even insured the riskiest loans with collateralized debt obligations (CDOs), masking their toxicity. Everyone bought in, from pension funds to everyday savers, convinced housing was bulletproof. Then, the bubble burst. By 2007, subprime borrowers defaulted en masse. Banks could only seize the homes tied to these loans, not other assets, flooding the market with foreclosed properties. Housing prices plummeted, leaving many owing more than their homes were worth. Rational borrowers stopped paying, accelerating the collapse. Bad debts skyrocketed from 4% to over 10%, wiping out MBS and CDO values. Banks like Lehman Brothers and Bear Stearns crumbled, with over 30 collapsing in 2008 and 148 more in 2009. Panic gripped the markets. The government stepped in with too-big-to-fail bailouts, slashing rates further and printing money through quantitative easing QE. From 2008 to 2012, 3 rounds of QE flooded the system with cash, saving banks but diluting everyone's savings. By 2020, the U.S. embraced unlimited QE, printing money at an unprecedented pace. This isn't just a U.S. story. In China, massive stimulus in 2008, 2012, and 2015 fueled infrastructure and credit booms, doubling Shanghai's stock index from 1,660 to 3,400 points in 10 months, and driving Beijing's housing prices from $1,200 to $2,400 per square meter in months. New money flows first to assets like stocks and real estate, enriching those who own them. The wealthy, with their portfolios of properties and equities, catch these waves early, raising prices and pocketing profits. Ordinary savers, holding cash or low-yield accounts, are left with devalued money as inflation creeps in. This is the Cantillon Effect. New money benefits the first movers while eroding the purchasing power of those at the end of the line: retirees, rural dwellers, or anyone relying on fixed incomes. So, how do the rich stay rich, and how can you join them? It starts with mindset. The poor trade time for wages, spending on liabilities like cars or homes that drain cash. The rich build assets, businesses, stocks, or properties that generate passive income. They don't just earn, they make money work for them. To escape the poverty trap, you must plug the wealth leak caused by inflation. Convert fiat into assets that outpace inflation: index funds, real estate, or bonds. Index funds, tracking broad market indices, are a safe bet for beginners. Warren Buffett himself recommends them, citing their low risk and steady 10% annual returns over long cycles, 3 to 5 years. But beware, stocks are treacherous without research. A relative of mine made $100,000 trading stocks, bought a house, then lost $200,000 chasing rumors. Most retail investors lose because they lack discipline or knowledge. Entrepreneurship is another path, but it's not a fantasy of opening a shop and lounging while cash rolls in. That's a recipe for failure, bleeding money to landlords and utilities. Successful entrepreneurs identify unmet needs, differentiate their offerings, and build moats to fend off competitors. Take Kazuo Nomori, who joined a failing ceramics factory, outlasted his peers, and invented a precision ceramic for TV tubes. He founded Kyocera at 27 and KDDI at 51, both Fortune 500 giants, through relentless focus and expertise. Entrepreneurship demands deep industry knowledge and the ability to lead a team. Salespeople and programmers often excel here because their skills scale. One top performer can outshine dozens. To climb the wealth ladder, think like a resource allocator, not just a provider. Most people are resource providers, trading time for wages. Your pay reflects your replaceability. Low-skill jobs like delivery cap out because anyone can do them. High-skill roles like coding or sales command more because they're harder to master. To break free, accumulate resources, money, skills, or networks, then allocate them strategically. Start a business, invest in stocks, or build a rental property portfolio. Investors, the highest tier, spot opportunities and fund allocators, reaping outsized returns. This requires experience, honed by years as a provider or allocator. The final piece is persistence. Success isn't linear, it's exponential. Early efforts yield little, but breakthroughs come after grinding through the dark pool of struggle. Data shows that a 1% edge in effort can propel you into the top 10% of outcomes. Most people stay in their parents' class, but outliers like a rural kid becoming a physics professor prove mobility is possible with grit. Don't expect instant riches. Invest in yourself, learn high-value skills, study markets, and read voraciously. Delay gratification, endure the pain of growth, and build assets that pay you while you sleep. As Sushi said, those who achieve greatness have not only extraordinary talent but unyielding will, your action plan. First, plug the wealth leak by investing in index funds or stable assets. Second, shift your income model to include passive streams, dividends, rents, or royalties. Third, upskill to become less replaceable, whether through coding, sales, or another high-demand field. Finally, embrace entrepreneurship or resource allocation when ready, but only with deep preparation. The financial world isn't forgiving, but it rewards those who understand its rules. In 2025, with global Q pumping $50 trillion into markets, the stakes are higher than ever. Don't let your wealth slip away. Study, persist, and act like the rich, because the only thing stopping you is you.